Okay, let's see if I'm ready for this. Let's make sure everything is turned off. That's off, that's off, that's off, that's on. There's my chat. The stream is live. Alright, I think everything's good. Hello! Shadowcat back! Oh my goodness, would you believe it if I told you I literally just woke up? I just woke up. I woke up, I looked at the time, I'm like, wait a minute, what time does that say? 9:49. Why does that seem important? Why is that important? Oh, I have a stream in like 10 minutes. Oh, crap. And then I did the flight of a bumblebee thing. Trying to get everything ready for the stream. So, yeah, we're here. I don't even know if I'm ready. I think I'm ready. We're gonna try and make it work regardless. This is your warning. Don't work and sleep at the same time. Okay? Just because you do learn how to lucid dream, so that you can work on things while you're sleeping, does not make it a good idea. There is no replacement for like actual sleep. It seems convenient at first. In the end, though, it's not a good idea. So, we're gonna get into this. Before we get into this, though, let's take a look at the chat. Who's in the chat? JP's in the chat. Hello, JP. Good to see you. Blizzard Star is in the chat. Hello, Blizz. Good to see you, too. JP already says, what rabbit holes await us today? Well, seeing as how we're working on, like, creatures, I would presume actual rabbits. At least that's my hope, and, you know. I want to find bunnies. I love bunnies. Bunnies are one of my favorite things in the world. So, I mean, fingers crossed. Let's find us some rabbit holes. Okay, so to do this, we are, of course, going to need our browser. And we're going to need our spreadsheet. So we get back to work on this. And just a recap of last time we were here, we started working on creatures. And one of the first things that we had to do was establish exactly what kind of creatures these were going to be, because planeswalkers don't actually summon creatures. And what I mean by that is, when we summon creatures as either a summoner or as a sorcerer, wizard, or anyone else who can summon creatures, we're not just yanking them out of midair. There is actually a spell called Gate. And I'll go ahead and I'll bring this up real quick. Because it's one of those things that, like, we're basing a lot of this off of the summoner. And I even went through and changed the planeswalker details here under class skills to represent summoner instead. Believe it or not, the class skills for summoner and sorcerer are exactly the same. The hit die is exactly the same. Everything about the summoner and sorcerer are exactly the same, except for their class features, which are the things that we're changing anyway. And so it was really easy. But getting back to the summoner. Summoners, of course, use Summon Monster a lot. It's a thing that they do, until they get down to level 19 where they learn Gate. Now, Gate is a very, very special spell. Okay? And if you ever played the Baldur's Gate games, it's also a very terrifying spell. Because in Baldur's Gate, the spell Gate only actually summons one thing. And if you're not careful, it ends your game. Because in Baldur's Gate, it summons a Pit Fiend. And a Pit Fiend is one of the strongest demons in Dungeons and Dragons. The only way to properly summon or to use Gate in Dungeons and Dragons is to have a cleric in your party who can cast Protection of Evil 10 feet, or 30 feet, or whatever it is, so that you can all stand inside the circle while your wizard or sorcerer casts Gate, and then hopefully nothing else pushes you out of that circle before the Pit Fiend that you just summoned kills everything else. And then you hope that the Pit Fiend goes back to the back to the Hells before your protection from evil spell wears off. Yeah, it's bad. I mean, can be useful, but it's usually bad. However, that's in the game, and of course a tabletop game is a lot more free. So, Gate. Here we go, that's what I wanted. I want to go to the actual Gate spell. Because Gate in Dungeons & Dragons and Pathfinder is very different than what it is in the games. It says, casting a spell has two effects, and you get to choose one of them. Firstly, it creates an interdimensional connection between your plane of existence and the gate that you plane that you specify, allowing travel between those two planes in either direction. Basically, pick where you want to go. However, they do have to be different planes. You can't use this to just travel from here to Paris. Secondly, you may then call a particular individual or kind of being through the gate. This is where the Pit Fiend comes in, because it's not just that you're opening a gate from here to hell, you're literally bringing a Pit Fiend from there. Now, when you do this, it says right here, the gate itself is a hoop or disc, 5 to 20 feet in diameter, your choice, oriented in the direction you desire when it comes into existence, typically vertical and facing you. It is a two-dimensional window looking into the plane you specified. Now, the gate does have a front and back. If you move from the front, you're teleported to the plane. If you move from the back, then you are not. You can use this as planar travel, and you can just walk through it and go wherever you want to, or you can call creatures. Now, in general, and this is very general, if you're calling a creature by its type, you can call that creature basically as any other creature. If it has a name, as in there is only one of these creatures in existence, we are talking about princes, we are talking about demon lords, we're talking about angelic archangels, anything like that. If it has a specific name and you're calling it, then it may not come. But the point is that I want to get to with this is that you are bringing the actual creature from that plane to here. Now, this is the gate spell, but the smaller summon creatures are the same. Because when we go to summon monster, it literally says that you are summoning an extra planar creature. That just means that it comes from another plane to you. It appears alongside you, it acts immediately. It is essentially just a miniature version of Gate. Just imagine big circle or little circle opens up, drops your creature there, little circle closes, done. It is the creature. And when it dies, whatever's left of it goes back. That is not how planeswalkers work, though. Planeswalkers work by creating a fabrication, a facsimile of anything they have ever seen in their lives. So the example that I used before would be like the family dog. You know, before they realized that they had the spark, before they realized that they were a planeswalker, they grew up and they had, you know, the family German Shepherd. And so that was an animal that they were close to, it's an animal that was important to them, and once they realized that they had the spark, that they were a planeswalker, that they ended up in some godforsaken plane in another reality of existence, just out of instinct, they want a friend, and so they're able to grab hold of the ley lines, gather that mana, and create a facsimile of their family dog. But it's not the family dog. It's just an echo of what it was. This is also how planeswalkers are able to conjure multiples of any one creature. It's just an echo. And so they can bring a whole bunch of them if they want. Why stop at one family dog when you can have an entire pack? Which is why they get their own creature type. So we established that we're going to take the summoner rules, and all summons will have a duration of 1 minute per level. Now, that's actually a pretty long time. However, that's balanced by the fact that they're planeswalkers. They don't get a lot of additional abilities. Planeswalkers are usually pretty bog standard, except for the fact that they are a planeswalker. They have a lot of spells, sure, don't get me wrong, and this is where things like feats would come in, because you gotta remember this is a class, and so you can be whatever race you want, and you're a planeswalker. And because of that, you will be able to pick up different feats. And why is that important? Because this, if you're going to be a planeswalker, is where you'll really get to build your character. Because when we get to feats, I'm just going to go with one that I'm already aware of. And that is going to be... where is it? It's going to be not conceal spell. There is something in here, and I want to say it's a general feat, but I'm not positive. I'm almost certain it's a general feat. Let's look for Arcane. Arcane Blast, no. Arcane Insight, Arcane Jinxer. Arcane Talent, no. Deadly Dealer, no. Extra Arcane Pool, but you need the Arcane Pool class feature for that. No. Here we go, Familiar Bond. This is a good example. So, if you take a wizard gets an Arcane Bond. And in fact, I can even pull that up. We pull up the wizard, and one of the first things a wizard get is an Arcane Bond. At the first level, a wizard forms an Arcane Bond with an object or creature. The bond can take one of two forms, a familiar or a bonded object. Now, when I say a bonded object, they literally mean an object. It can be a magic ring, a magic necklace, a magic wand, a magic dagger, whatever you want it to be. It's your bonded object. But the other option is a familiar. Now, if you are a wizard and you take a bonded object, you can actually take the spell Familiar. And you can cast Familiar. And thus, you can have a bonded object and a familiar, but you did trade a spell slot for that. But what if you're not a wizard and you want a familiar? What if you're not a sorcerer and you can't get the spell familiar? That's where this comes in. If you get the spell Iron, or the feat Iron Will, as a prerequisite, because you do need it, you can then get Familiar Bond, where you gain a familiar as per the Wizard Arcane Bond class feature. You do not gain the special ability Familiar normally grants its master, and the Familiar does not gain the Deliver Touch spells, Scry on Familiar, Share spells, Speak with Animals of its kind, or spell resistance abilities. Otherwise, though, your total hit dice are used as your wizard level for determining your Familiar's abilities. Basically, you're not a wizard. You can't use your familiar the same way a wizard would. But if you wanted a familiar, you can. And so, even though you are a planeswalker, any of your other talents that you want to learn, you can do like this. There are feats in here, and I just don't remember what they are, where you can actually learn some basic spells. And I don't remember what it was. Let's see. Major, skill expertise major. Split major hex, no. Spell expertise. That requires you to be able to cast 9th level spells, though. Spell expertise minor, no. There is a feat in here that will let you just learn spells. And now I don't remember what it is. It doesn't matter, though. It doesn't matter. The fact is, I know it's in here. I could find it if I spent enough time. I'm not going to. But if you wanted to be a planeswalker who could also cast arcane spells, you could do that. There's also another one in here where if you wanted to learn how to make bombs, like an alchemist. I mean, JP, if you wanted to make a holy hand grenade, you would just need to get whatever feat was in here that would allow you to make bombs, and you could do it. Let's see, this one's extra bombs. Implant bombs. Remove bombs. Maybe it's combat feat. I don't know. It's in here somewhere. So you can always use your feats to do that. And so you'll be able to make yourself a more well-rounded planeswalker. But okay. That's where we stand right now. Our creature types are summoning the creatures as standard action, instead of a full round action or 1 minute, which is what other class would have to do. They're an echo type. What does that mean for us? They're hit dice. They're going to have a D8 hit dice, but they only get 1 per or every 2 levels you have. The reason for this is because as a planeswalker, you can summon a whole bunch of these. Given that they last for 1 minute per level, that means that at level 1, you could use all 3 of your spells per day to summon 3 creatures, and they would all last for 10 rounds. Okay? At level 1, that's a lot, because you don't have a whole lot of feats, you don't have a whole lot of hit points or anything like that to play with. So you just took one fight that was, one-on-one, and turned it into a 4-on-1 fight. It's a lot. It also means that if you were a level 20 planeswalker and you wanted to sit there summoning creature after creature after creature after creature, you could have an army of 60 creatures for a maximum of 20 minutes. That's an army. Okay, that is absolutely an army. You could walk into anywhere and just start terrorizing the place with that army of creatures. Having them have only half of the hit dice that you do is a really good balance. Now, they're still going to be just as strong. After all, a goblin that does 1d8 damage is going to do 1d8 damage whether it has 10 hit points or 1 hit point. Similarly, if it's a level 20 creature of some kind, it's going to do, like 3d12 damage, whether it's got 60 hit points or 1 hit point. So, at the higher levels, they're going to be more in the glass cannon area, except they're not even going to be that glassy. They're just going to be half strength, okay? It's not even a glass cannon. It's just a smaller caliber cannon. Their base attack bonus is fast, so they just get 1 every level. That makes that very simple. Simple is the goal here. They've got no good saving throws. They get only 2 skills per intelligence, or plus their intelligence modifier per hit dice, which just means that when you make them, you can designate that they will get a certain number of skills. It'll be simple. And class skills, none. So they don't get any bonuses to their skills. You can just pick what they are, and their skill ranks will be equal to their level. They're not going to be great, but they don't need to be great. These are, of course, an extension of you and what you think they're good at. That doesn't necessarily make them good. Their traits, they're extra planar, obviously. Since they're echoes, they do not eat, drink, or sleep. They do not breathe. They have no proficiencies. They can only use summoned equipment. You cannot just hand off a sword or armor to them. It just doesn't work that way. They're always neutral because they're mindless. They have no treasure because they are ultimately insubstantial. And so that's how that's going to work. Now, what we need is going to be an actual character sheet for them. And for that, we're going to move over a little bit to do this. Now, this right here does not need to be all linked, which means neither does this. This thing for vehicle capacity just needs to go across this header. We can also close that. Okay, so we've got this space here to work with. What we need to do... Nope, go back. I hate that little wheel on my mouse. Is we need to make our own quick. And again, the word of the day here is quick. We need a quick bestiary entry. We need something that we can throw together in like 5 minutes. It's going to take us more than 5 minutes to actually build it, but we need something that once we're getting in there, we can sit down and throw together in 5 minutes. We're going to need to have references so that when we sit down to play, you, as a player, as a planeswalker, I will be able to ask you, what card do you want? You will then be able to tell me what card you want, like let's say the Aven Fate Shaper, and then we'll be able to come over to here, type in Aven Fate Shaper, and there it is, and then take this card and just automatically fill in the stat block. So let's take a look. The stat block is divided. There is a defense, there's an offense, there's statistics, and special abilities. We don't need to worry about special abilities, okay? Actually, no, we do kind of need to worry about special abilities. Because special abilities are going to be whatever's on the card. So, for example, the Aven Fate Shaper here, it has flying, and whenever it enters the battlefield, it gets, or you get Scry, which is honestly pointless for us. Scry doesn't really do us any good. Did we do that term? Was that a term that we did? No, must not be a keyword ability. It must be one of the action abilities. Scry just means that you get to look at the top part of your deck. And it also has tap 4+1, and that allows you to scry at will. Okay, not the best of our abilities, but it does have flying, and that flying would go... Well, okay, actually flying would probably go under movement. But regardless, we need a block for defense, we need a block for offense, we need a block for our statistics. So, let's start on this. Let's do this one at a time. The first things that we got here is up at the top. XP, I don't care about the XP. We don't need it. However, neutral, tiny, and magical beast. So we're going to need... Well, first off, we need a name. Then, alignment. Next is going to be size. And then type. Now that type is going to be echo every single time. Then initiative and senses. So initiative and senses. And we'll give ourselves, I think, 3 spaces for that. Because, I mean, just for an example, this one has dark vision and low light vision. Oh, and that needs perception. So we'll move down 1 more space. We'll put a block right there. This, of course, will be perception. And all of these, we're going to merge together. And this doesn't actually have a block. This is just going to be, I don't know. It's just a block, okay? I'm not going to overthink this one. Let's expand this column so it actually makes sense. We will format painter this. Okay, now we get into the next block. This is going to be the defense block. So we've got armor class plus touch and flat-footed. So armor class, touch, flat-footed. Hit points and our saves. So hit points, fortitude, reflex, and will. And then any weaknesses, if they have them. I don't think that they do. I've never seen a card that had a particular weakness. But we'll go ahead and we'll put it in here anyway. Okay. And then, take all of this. And this is going to be defenses. We're going to format this real quick to make it look a little bit better. Alignment is going to be in the middle. 270. Done. And then we can block that in. So there's our defenses. Next up is going to be offense. And here's where we're going to get into other things. Speed. And then our melee attack. Now, for melee, they have it all in a single line. I'm going to expand ours a little bit. So it's going to be melee attack, and then melee damage, and then probably we should put in the melee critical, but I don't think we really need it. This is Pathfinder, not Starfinder, so it doesn't have a unique critical. Yeah, it should be fine the way it is. Let's see. Oh, and checking on chat. Let's see. JP says, the wheel on your mouse laughs at your disdain. It said something about your questionable lineage. That just seems rude. I paid a lot of money for this mouse. I did not pay to be insulted. And we have somebody else in the chat. Hello, Mr. Flosh. Good to see you here today. And the Mr. Flosh says, creatures with the illusion subtype often just vanish or die if targeted with a spell or ability. And that is true. However, these are not illusions. That's why they have their own unique creature type. So when it comes to illusion magic, and I mean I can speak on this one at length because I play illusion pretty heavily, there are two specific types. There are illusions, and then there are phantasms. Okay, three types, and then there's technically shadows, if you want to go that route. Illusions are exactly just that. They are just an illusion. They have no substance, and if you touch them, they generally disappear, or you go through them, one or the other. And so that's it. They're not there. Phantasms tend to be invisible, but they have tangible effects. Thinking of something like a phantasmal stalker. Those can actually kill you, and they will kill you. Shadows, on the other hand, kind of split the difference. A shadow anything, whether it's a shadow weapon, shadow spell, shadow creature, have different levels of tangibility. They always look like a shadow. However, it's a D% roll when they do anything to see whether or not they actually affect anything. These, however, are different. These will be completely tangible. You'll be able to walk up to them, touch them, punch them, cut them, anything. The difference is that if you were to summon a goblin, okay? You're using summon monster and you summon a goblin. If you were to take a battle axe and chop that goblin in half, you would be able to split that goblin in half and see all the gooey bits inside. Because it's an actual goblin. And then of course it's dead, so it gets unsummoned back to wherever it came from in pieces. You can also send a fruit basket to the family if you want. With the echoes, however, the echoes are only as substantial as you personally know them, because they are all an expression of your memory. Planeswalkers, I know that we have a limit here. Okay, we have a limit that you can only cast 3 spells per day, and this is because that's as much endurance as you have, and you only know 2 spells. But in the canon of Magic the Gathering, Planeswalkers are capable of summoning anything that they have seen before. Now, as a Planeswalker, when you're playing the tabletop game, you can summon all kinds of these fantastic creatures. You can get goblins and elves and wizards and soldiers and dragons and demons and things like that. But you also got to understand kind of the reason for that is because why would you summon Bob? Technically speaking, a Planeswalker who walks through a village would be able to summon every single person in that village. And the more that they know about that person, the better they would be at summoning them. So let's say that you spent all of your time going to one particular food stand. Maybe they had really great mutton. I don't know. But there's an old lady there, and she was the one who would prepare the mutton every day. You'd go there to eat every day. It was fantastic. Her name is Lucy. Okay? Her name is Lucy. You can summon Lucy. You can absolutely summon Lucy. All you have to do is just gather the mana up and form it into that form. The reason that we don't, though, is because Lucy makes really great mutton. Unfortunately, she is really crap in battle. So, you just don't do it. But that doesn't mean that you couldn't. Technically speaking, a Planeswalker would be able to summon anything, not just Lucy the mutton monger, but you would be able to summon a house. You could summon a well. You could summon a wall. And it is, as a matter of fact, walls are a creature type. You can summon them all the time. The problem comes in that, if you've never seen this house before when you summoned it, there might not actually be anything inside. You go to open the door, and the door doesn't open because it's not real. You might be able to summon your childhood home, but that's about it. Because unless you can picture it like really clearly in your mind when you're summoning it, it wouldn't actually come out the way you want. Which is why, when you mentioned that illusions would disappear as soon as they were hit, they don't really have that weakness. The only weakness they have is the fact that they're not real and that they can only come into existence in so much of an existence. I'm not even sure how to really phrase it. That's just kind of how they work. So I'm not sure if there's anything we can put in there for weaknesses. I don't think there's anything we need to. But there we go. Alright, getting back to the character sheet. So we've got speed, we've got our melee attack, and I see no reason to change the melee attack. Then, if they have reach, they'll have a ranged attack. So ranged attack, and it's going to be range increment, and then ranged damage. Because we'll need to know, first off, what do you need to roll for it, then how far can you go with it, and then how much damage does it do once you get there. Okay, next is going to be special attacks. I don't know that they're going to have any, but we'll see. Special attacks. And spell-like abilities. I don't believe they'll have any, but we'll put it in here anyway. Spell-like abilities. Now, when we talk about spell-like abilities, we're talking about, in the example of our carbuncle here, these things have 3 times a day they can use daze, they can use jump, levitate, but only themselves, and they can cast these spells even though they're not a spellcaster, it's just natural for them. Technically speaking, there are some creatures in Magic the Gathering that have abilities they can use, but that would probably come under special abilities. So, not sure exactly what we're going to do there. We are going to copy this down here. This is going to be offenses. Alright. We can then copy this and move into the statistics. So the statistics are all the basic stuff. Strength, Dex, Constitution, that whole 9 yards. So strength. If I can spell it right. Dexterity. Constitution. Intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Again, if I could spell right today. There's also their base attack bonus, CMB and CMD. Base attack bonus. CMB and CMD, because I am not writing out combat maneuver bonus and combat maneuver defense. Let's see. Next is going to be feats. Now, this one, again, I don't think we need it, but I'm going to add it just in case. So, feats. They are not going to come into play with any feats of their own, okay? It's not going to happen. If there was something that could give them a feat, however, then there's a possibility it could apply, and so we'll go ahead and we'll keep that on hand. Skills. So, here's what we're going to do with skills. They're only going to get a single skill bonus. As we've already established, because they have no class skills, then realistically, the highest rank they could have is going to be whatever their level is. Which means what we're going to do is we're simply going to give them space for skills. So right here, we would be able to write down that they have acrobatics and I've been playing so much Starfinder lately, I gotta remember my Pathfinder skills. They'll have acrobatics, they'll have knowledge, arcana, they'll have spellcraft. Well, actually no, spellcraft is a trained. They can't have anything trained. So whatever they happen to be. And they will all have them all at the same level. So this is going to be a block game. We're going to allocate them 6. Because it's a number equal to 2 plus their intelligence. Generally speaking, the highest intelligence you could normally have is going to be 18. So that would be a +4 bonus. So we'll allocate that. Let's see. Oh, PC Unicorn's in the chat. Hello, PC Unicorn. Good to see you this morning. PC Unicorn says there are a handful that have spells for themselves, mainly with the online alchemy sets. The Razor Demon is the first one that comes to mind. I mean, that's very interesting. However, I would argue that a lot of them have that. Any creature that says either pay mana or tap to deal X damage to creature or player is essentially casting its own magic. What's a good example of that? What's a good example of that? I can't think of it. Give me an example of a creature that taps to deal damage to another creature while I pull up a different example. Because I can't think of one off the top of my head. What I can think of, though, is the Viridian Longbow. So, obviously, this is not a spell. This is the Viridian Longbow. But this also, the equipped creature gets tap, and this creature deals 1 damage to any target. However, this is an equipment, not a spell. Essentially, this is going to give a creature reach. Although reach with only, 1 damage. And so that's where I would get into this literally happens with any creature that can tap. PC Unicorn says it's literally draft a spell from its spell book. Alright, well, let me see if I can look that up here. Razor Demon? This is the actual cards. You said that was from the online. And no, it does not come up. So I guess I can't look that up here. Oh well. I can always look that up later. If it's not in here though, then we really can't even use it anyway. Because I need the spells to come from here so that we all have a common source to draw from. If there's like external things, I can't grab them from there. I'm sorry, I can't do it. So anyway, we're going to come back to here. And then of course languages. The only languages that they're going to have are going to be whatever you speak. So honestly, we should come back to the echo type traits. And we need to put in here, they only speak the languages of their summoner. There we go. Because, again, these are just a facsimile. They're only as good as you remember them being. And if, they speak a language that you don't know, the fact is there's no way for you to know it. So we'll keep the languages down here. The languages are going to be blank. Technically, they will be whatever it is that you speak. And we'll go ahead and give them 4 slots for that. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll go ahead and we'll do that. I'll get the format painter out here. Yeah, that just shortened it. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Statistics. And now we've got that done. And then, last but not least, is going to be down here for special abilities. And this will include whatever happens to be on the card. And there we go. That should do it. And so this will give us our creature. Now, let's go ahead and pick a random creature and see how well this works. I'm going to go ahead and just back up a few pages. We'll go with the Aven Fate Shaper. Now, we don't need to worry about the mana cost for this one because that doesn't really affect anything at the exact moment. It does, however, mean that you would have to be a minimum of level 7 to catch or to summon this thing. Why is that important? Because that means that this is going to set our dice. It gets half of the level in hit dice. Half of that level is going to be 3.5. We're rounding down because you always round down. Which means it is going to have 3 hit dice. So we come over here. And we're going to roll 3 d8s. 14. So we're going to come back here and we're going to say, first off, name. It's going to be the Aven Fate Shaper. And that'll let us set our column width here. The alignment, of course, is going to be neutral. Size. Now, coming back here, what's the size? The size is equal to the power and power plus toughness. Where is it? Here it is. The Aven Fate Shaper has 4 power, 5 toughness, which means it's got 9. Where is 9? It's right here. It's going to be a large creature. So, size, large. Type, it's an echo. Initiative. Now, we won't know that until we have its dexterity, so right now its initiative is going to be 0. Senses. Right now, there's nothing to say it has any kind of special senses, so we're going to leave that blank. Perception. It doesn't have a wisdom score yet, so it's also going to be +0. However, if we look at this thing, the creature is a bird wizard. Now, the way we're going to be doing this is that each of these is going to be giving it different bonuses. Now, being a bird is probably going to give it a bonus to dexterity, because birds tend to be agile. So let's say that being a bird will give it a +2 dexterity. Being a wizard will give it a +2 to its intelligence. Neither one of those are going to help these senses. So what we can do is we can come down here and we can say strength. It's got a 14 power. Or it's got a 4 power, excuse me. We'll add 10 to that and give it 14 strength. It's a bird. That's a +2 to dexterity. 12 dexterity. Let me scroll down, or scroll up here. Here we go. Okay, it has 5 toughness. That'll give it 15 constitution. It's a wizard. +2 to intelligence. That gives it a 12. We don't have any bonuses for wisdom, so that's a 10. We don't have any bonuses for charisma. That's also a 10. Now, the base attack bonus is equal to its level because it has fast, or it has fast advancement. So the base attack bonus will be a +7. Now, combat maneuver bonus, that is 10 plus your base attack bonus plus your strength modifier. The strength modifier for a 14 is a +2. So, or no, forget the 10. It's just your base attack bonus plus your strength modifier. This is a +9. Combat maneuver defense is 10 plus base attack bonus plus strength plus dexterity. So it's going to be 10 plus 7 is 17, plus 2 strength is 19, plus 1 dexterity is 20. It does not have any feats. Skills. Thought I was going to sneeze for a second there. Fortunately, I held it. Okay, skills. Remembering that we can only do skills that are untrained. One of the first things that we probably want is fly, because it's got flying. So we'll take that, and they get 2 skill point or 2 skills plus 1 per intelligence, which means we get to pick 3. So we'll take that one. What else do we want? Maybe acrobatics. And, I don't know, we'll take perception. So, perception. Because we don't have a will save here. Or not, we don't have a will save. We don't have a wisdom bonus here. So, this is the only perception bonus that we're getting. Now, seeing as how the perception, or your skill bonus is going to be equal to your level. And I'm going to put that right here. Skills. Actually, I put it down here. Because watch this. Equal to level. Oh, ranks. Equal to level. We'll go ahead and merge those into one. We'll format this so that it's in the middle. Format painter. There we go. So there's that. Languages, of course, you're going to get on your own. But because we have that, perception is going to be a +7, so we can come up here. Our perception is a +7. And now we can start filling in things like our armor class. Armor class is going to be an 11, because we only have a +1 to our dexterity. Touch is without armor, so that's going to still be 11. Flat-footed is going to be a 10. Hit points, we just rolled those. What was that again? 14. It has 14 hit points. The fortitude, because they have no good saves. Actually, no, what would it be? I would need to know what the advancement is. Hold on a second. Let's go back to here. Where is our advancement for saves? So this just says good saving throws are going to be that, but it doesn't actually tell me what their saving throws would be. Typical saving throws. This takes me to combat. I actually don't know this one. Let me take a look at a, just any random class here. We'll take the Barbarian. So Barbarians have good Fortitude saves, but bad everything else. And the end result is that at level 20, they have 12 in their good and 6 in their bad. It seems like they only get maybe... What would the advancement here be? It's not half, because then it would be here, so it's got to be less than half. Maybe 1/3, so that'd be 1/3, 2/3, 1. 1 1/3, 1 2/3, 2. Okay, so yeah, this is going to be 1/3 per. Actually, why am I even doing the math here? I can literally just copy this. This is what I need. Okay, so at level 7, it's going to be a +2 in everything. So +2, +2, +2, but then we get to add in our bonuses. So dexterity is a +1, so reflex gets to go up by 1. That's a +3. Fortitude is constitution based. 15 is a +2. Goes up to a +4. And will save is wisdom based. There is no bonus there. Okay. Next. Speed. And the speed is going to be naturally 30 feet. And because it does have flying, and it absolutely does have flying, right here, we have to consult over here. The fly speed is equal to their converted mana cost times 10. So it's going to be 70 feet. And because it is large, it's going to be average. So it's going to be fly. $70 feet. Average. Okay, there we go. And because it does not have any kind of range attack, it doesn't have reach. That means that it has to fight in melee range. So the melee attack, and it's just an unnamed regular melee attack. We're just going to say it's going to be unarmed plus. It's going to be plus the base attack bonus plus strength. So it's going to be 7 plus 2 is going to be plus 9. And the melee damage is going to be... Oh, and we haven't figured this one out yet. What is the melee damage for a creature? Normally, for a spell, and we figured this out for spells. Let's go back here. So, for any damaging spell, if it deals number damage, the number of dice is equal to the converted mana cost. The size of the dice is the damage listed. That is a bit difficult to translate because we don't have a damage listed. Except that we kind of do. We have the power. Well, then if the number of dice for the spell is the converted mana cost, if I did that for the creatures, we would be doing an enormous amount of damage. So I think this is where we need to start making rules for this. Let's see. For damage for these creatures, I think we would have to use the power. I think we would have to. And PC Unicorn says, what is the damage roll for a paper cut? Paper cuts get an automatic hit and an automatic critical. They only do 1d1 minus 1 damage. But then you have to roll for infection. Look, I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. Oh, wait a minute, I'm the DM. I do make the rules. Okay. Well, let's start making some rules then. So here's what I think I'm going to do. For melee damage, I think we're going to have to tie it back to that power roll. I think we can do this, actually. So, for creature damage, let's go ahead and put it right here. Or maybe put it under the traits. I could probably put it under the traits. Scroll down, or scroll up a little bit here. Scroll down? I'm not even sure. Okay. So, let's just go ahead and say that the damage roll equals 1d power. Now let's think about this. That means that if we're using our Aven Fate Shaper here, our attack here is going to be 1d4. Now it's a little bit low, but that is essentially a dagger's worth of damage. That's going to be a 1d4, but we do, because it is melee, we do get to add in the strength, so it's going to be +2. And I'm not going to assign it a piercing, slashing, or bludgeoning. It's just going to be 1d4 +2 because it is an echo. And so it is kind of sort of spell damage. And spell damage is sometimes just force damage. A great example of that would be if we came back to the spells and just look up Magic Missile. So you do have some spells that specify what they are. For example, Evocation has Ray of Frost, which deals 1d3 cold damage. That is specific, but not every spell does. Evocation... Is it not Evocation? No, there it is. Yeah, here we go. Magic Missile. Yeah, Magic Missile, magical energy darts dart forth from your fingertip and strike your target, dealing 1d4 +1 points of force damage. Force damage is just general damage. There is practically nothing in the game that blocks force damage. So that's what we'll use here. And okay, I think that will work. Now, this also means, because it is going to be based on the power, if you have a spell or an equipment or something that increases the power of your creature, we can also increase its damage. So, somebody in the chat, give me an equipment. Give me any random equipment. I don't care what it is. Just give me something. And while you're doing that, I'm going to copy this. Because this is how this is going to work. I'm going to call this Basics. Okay, good enough for me. Paste. JP says shovel. I don't know if there is a shovel. We're going to find out, though. Is there a shovel? Well, kinda. There is a graveyard shovel. It's not an equipment, though, so I can't actually give it to the Aven Fate Shaper here. Okay, what does it do anyway? Pay 2, tap, target player exiles a card from his or her graveyard. If it's a creature card, you gain 2 life. Honestly, that's not a bad artifact. PC Unicorn says Hammer of Narzan. Hammer of Narzan. No, wait. Nazahan? Whatever, I'm just putting in hammer. Hammer, 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 hammer. Down to H. Here we go. Hammer of Nazan. It is a legendary equipment. Whenever the Hammer of Nazan or another equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may attack with that equipment, or attach that equipment, excuse me, to the target creature you control. The equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has indestructible. Perfect. Love it. So we're going to take this Hammer of Nazan and we're going to give it to our Aven Fate Shaper. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Now, we're not necessarily going to change a lot of things because this sheet is going to essentially stay the way it is. This is not to be changed. These details we'll simply keep track of on, say, scrap paper. But, for our purposes here, we're going to take this Hammer of Nazan. Now, what is that going to do for us? It is going to give the equipped creature +2/+0. This means it's going to get a +2 strength counter bonus and a +0 constitution counter bonus, meaning its strength is going to go up by 2. That is going to increase a couple of things. Number one, it means that its combat maneuver bonus is also going to go up by 1, and its combat maneuver defense goes up by 1. It also means that because it now has 6 strength instead of 4, this is going to go up to a D6. The strength bonus to damage will go up by 1, so now it's doing 1d6 + 3, and it's going to get a +10 on its attack now. And I guess it's not technically unarmed now, so what we're going to do is we're just going to delete that, and it's just going to be a +10 on its melee attack. And so that's how it will affect the creatures in your game. And I think this is beautiful. I think this is going to work out really well. The more equipment that you can slap onto your creature, the higher these dice can get. To the point where, let's find a big creature. Let's find a big creature and try to make this work. Now, a lot of this stuff is still preliminary, but let's find something with over 10s, okay? Give me a creature with 10 power, 10 toughness, or better. I'm mostly looking at you, PC Unicorn, because I know that you're more into this than I am. You know more than I do. Give me a big creature. Okay, I'm tapping this well of knowledge and power. And I'm just going to go ahead and reset a few things. Actually, I'm not even bothered resetting this. But I want to build another creature here. Now, like I said, I'm going to be improvising a few things here because we don't actually have the stat bonuses for some of these things. PC Unicorn says Emmerkull. I don't even know what that is. We're going to find out, though. Emmerkull? That is not a thing. Maybe you spelled it wrong. Maybe I spelled it wrong. Did I spell it wrong? No, I followed the spelling. Okay, I don't know. Oh, wait. The Mr. Floss says Emrakul. Hold on. Emrakul. Is that it? Okay, there's a lot of things here. Ah, here we go. There's actually several of them. And PC Unicorn says Eldrazi creature. Yeah, this does seem to be it. So let's see. This one costs 15. Let's take this one. Oh yes, 15. That's a wonderful creature. Let's see what this does for us. Okay, now, given that this is this even legendary? No, this is mythic rare. So, like, there's no way you could ever summon this. This could be a boss or some kind. But there's no way you can have this on your team. But let's just see what it would look like if you had to go up against it. Alright, starting with 15. PC Unicorn says, hooked on phonics worked for me. That's hilarious. I've done that one before. Alright, so 15. Half of it in D8s. That's going to be 7 D8s. But let's get the rest of this stuff done first. First off, name. It's going to be Emrakul. The Aeon's Torn. He doesn't just have a name, he's got a title. Alignment. Hates you. Size. It has a combined power and toughness of 30, which makes it colossal. Type. Hates you. I mean, unless I'm missing something about the Eldrazi here. Initiative, everything else is going to have to wait. We need to come down here to these. So, for the strength, it's going to be 15 plus 10. It's going to be 25. Constitution is going to be 15 plus 10, so that's 25. Dexterity. Well, let's see. What is it? It's a creature Eldrazi. What the hell do we even do for an Eldrazi? I don't even know. I'm just going to go ahead and give the Eldrazi, I don't know, +4 in everything. So it's going to be 14 Dexterity, 14 Intelligence, 14 Wisdom, and 14 Charisma. Base attack bonus. We're not summoning this thing, so like, what level are we even going to do here? Let's pick a level at random, actually. We'll just roll 1d20. 9. Okay, 9. So the base attack bonus is going to be +9. That means that I can do the combat maneuver bonus and defense. So combat maneuver bonus is going to be base attack bonus plus strength. The strength is, let's see, 20 is 5, 22 is 6, 24 is 7. So 9 plus 7 is 16. And that's going to be 16 plus dexterity is going to be 18 plus 10 is going to be 28. Feats, it's an Eldrazi. I'm pretty sure it's got feats somewhere, but I can't find them. Skills. Does it really matter? I'm sure it has all the skills it needs. Let's go back up and see if we can fill in some other things. Initiative is going to be equal to its dexterity. Oh, which we didn't fill in with our Aven Fate Shaper. It gets a +1. This one gets a +2. Senses. I don't know what Eldrazi have for senses. I don't even know if they have eyes. Perception is going to be a +2 because it's got, you know, just natural wisdom. Armor class. Now, one of the things that we're actually not doing here is, in general, changing the size of a creature normally would change a lot of other things. It would change the armor class of the creature. It would change the strength of a creature. It would change the dexterity of a creature. We're not doing that here, and I'll tell you why. It's because these things are just kind of baked into what the creature is. And you'll see why in a moment. See, you, as a character, can wear things like armor. And so you get like these really big buffs to your words. I'm struggling with words here. You get these really big buffs to your armor class. These are not going to get there, or get that. And there's actually one thing I forgot to add here. The Aven Fate Shaper. We forgot to give it its bonus hit points per constitution. That's why it only has 14 hit points. It has a +2 bonus to its constitution, plus 7 levels. That's 14. So technically speaking, 14 plus the 14 it rolled is going to be 28. We literally just doubled its hit points. Here, though, armor class is going to be 12, 12, 10. Hit points, because we rolled a level 9 Eldrazi. Half of that is going to be... half that's going to be 4. It's going to be 4d8. However, we need to add in his constitution. Now, as we just established with strength, the constitution bonus is a +8, right? No. 5 for 20, 6 for 22, 7 for 24. Okay, +7. That's going to be +7 times 9. And if we roll the dice, that's going to give us 80 hit points. Now, got to come back to the Barbarian here to find out what the stats are going to be. So at level 9, it's +3 to its saves. That's +3, +3, +3. And then we get to start adding in the bonuses. So Fortitude is a Constitution bonus. That's a +7. It's got a +10 Fortitude. Reflex is Dexterity based. That's going to be a +5. And then Will is Wisdom based. That's also going to be a +5. Speed, I'm going to go ahead and assume is going to be 30. Because why wouldn't it be? And does it fly? It does have flying, yes. Given that it is colossal, its fly speed is going to be, because of the mana cost, 150 feet per round and clumsy. So fly 150 feet per round, clumsy. Its melee attack is going to be equal to its base attack bonus plus its strength. That's going to be 16. The melee damage, and here's where this is going to get really fun. Because its power is 15, it's going to be 1d15 plus 7. Now, since we use Roll20 to play, we can use virtual dice for this. Otherwise, that would be an impossible die to roll. But still, you can see a huge difference between just our Aven Fate Shaper, even with the hammer, and just this giant creature. One thing that I didn't add, and maybe I should add, now that I think about it, is reach. Because it is colossal, and space reach is something that I did not put in here. Creatures. Where's a creature? I need a creature. Canopy creeper, here we go. Yeah, I should have put that in here. Space reach. It should have gone under ranged attacks. I can still do that. I can still do that. I'm going to copy this, delete it, move down 2 spaces, and paste. Okay, and I will... Oh, actually, I can fix this right now. Copy this. Paste. Perfect. Space. And reach. So the space for our Aven Fate Shaper, because it is large, is going to be 10 feet. And the reach will also be... Well, hold on a second. We have rules for this. We want to come down here to Game Mastering. Combat. Space, reached, and threatened area templates. Okay. So, when we're talking about space and natural reach for creatures, a large creature, tall, which the Aven Fate Shaper is. It has a space and reach of 10 feet for both of them. Now, for our Eldrazi, it is colossal. And is it tall? Let's take a look. The fact is, I honestly have no idea. Our options are tall or long, not eldritch. I guess I'm gonna go with tall? I don't know. And I don't think it's gonna let me ask. So I guess we'll go with colossal tall. We come over here, we look at colossal tall. And its space is 30 feet, and so is its reach. Okay. So we got that. Now, what else does this thing do? Because I believe Eldrazi have a certain extra thing. Let's see. The spell can't be countered. So we can put that down here under special abilities, I think. So can't be countered. When you cast a spell, take an extra turn after this one. So when cast, take another turn. It's got flying, which we've already done. Protection from spells that are one or more colors. So protection from multicolor. It also has Annihilator 6. Now, what does that even mean? Well, that's where this comes in handy, because we can come back to our spells list where it has all the keyword abilities. And if we look up Annihilator, there it is. So, Annihilator. When this creature attacks a Planeswalker, destroy 2 permanents that Planeswalker controls. Now, I was very specific. It doesn't just destroy anything. It destroys very specifically echoes. And so, we may actually reword that, because it says 2 permanents is fine. So any creatures, any artifacts, whatever, if it's under their control, they're simply annihilated. And when this card is put into the graveyard from anywhere, the owner shuffles their graveyard into their library. We don't have a graveyard. However, what we haven't done yet is go through our regular keywords to define what a graveyard is. The current running idea for graveyard is basically, it is the opposite of your spells per day. It's any spells that you have already expended. Meaning that if you could summon this guy, and if he died somehow under your control, you would get back all of your spells per day. Which is just broken. Oh, I just noticed there's other versions of this card. Let's take a look. Oh, well there we go. I think he definitely looks tall. That's the same art as before, and that's the other same art as before. It looks like a giant mushroom. Yeah, he's definitely tall. But there we go. We've got our Eldrazi here. And he is appropriately terrifying. Now, in terms of, like, the senses, they basically sense the same thing that you do. You don't get to see through their eyes or anything like that. So, they only share whatever senses you have. If you have low light vision, then technically they do too. But since you can't see through their eyes, then you can only really direct them where you are. But okay, how about one more? How about one more? I'm going to need a creature with reach. And by the way, if you're paying attention, this is essentially what we're building. You will have a spreadsheet of your own, and I mean, I'm using OpenOffice, which is free. But if you have Excel, if you have Corel, whatever it happens to be, you'll be able to use this template on whatever spreadsheet you want, and you'll be able to have a quick reference of all the creatures that you have with all of their statistics. Alright, so I need to find a creature with reach. Let's go ahead and do an advanced search. Rules text. I want reach. And let's go ahead with a converted mana value either greater than or equal to 8. So add that, do a search. What do we got? A Goliath spider. Of course it's going to be a spider. However, it looks like a good spider. So it's the Goliath spider. The alignment is neutral. The size. It has 7 power and 6 toughness, which means it's got a collective of 13. That's going to make it huge. Okay, huge. It's an echo. As far as the initiative goes, we'll get to that all in a second. So, strength. It has 7 power, so it's going to be 17. It has 16 toughness, so 16 here. Now, we don't have a stat thing for a spider yet. Spiders are not exactly well known for being smart, wise, or charismatic. So if we had to give them any kind of bonus, it would probably be with dexterity. So we'll give it a +2 to dexterity. That'll give it a make that a 12. The rest of these will be 10s. Now, what level are we summoning this thing? $16! Okay, it's going to be a big spider. Alright, so 16 is going to be its base attack bonus. However, no, they only really get one attack per, so plus 16. That means for its, let me scroll up here a little bit. Combat maneuver bonus, that's going to be, a 17 is a plus 3. So that's going to be a plus 19. The combat maneuver defense is going to be that 19, plus dexterity is going to be 20, plus 10, it's going to be 30. Okay, feats. It doesn't have any feats. Well, on the contrary, it's a spider. It's got 8 feats. I take it back. Skills, I don't really care about right now. Languages, it only speaks what you speak. Special abilities, it has reach. I don't know what else it has. But let's take care of the hit points. We know that it gets a plus 3 to its its constitution. So that is going to be 8d8s plus, it's got a plus 3 bonus on its constitution times 16 levels. It's going to have a cool 100 hit points. There we go. As far as the armor class goes, with a dexterity of 12, it's going to be 11, 11, and 10. The fortitude at level 16. Let me come back here and look those up. Level 16 is going to be plus 5s. So plus 5, plus 5, plus 5. And then what bonuses do we get? From Constitution, we get a plus 3. So that'll make it a plus 8. From Reflex, we get, or from Dexterity, a plus 1. It's plus 6. And it has no Wisdom score at all. So it's going to get no bonus there. Speed. 30 feet. Unless we find some way to adjust this. It does not fly, so there's nothing else we have to worry about there, right? You're not flying. It can block as though it had flying. That's reach. So, melee attack. It actually does not have one. But we could give it one, I suppose. It's just that its range attack and its melee attack would essentially be the same. So melee attack is going to be its base attack bonus plus its strength. So that's plus 16 and a plus 3. That's plus 19. And the melee damage is going to be, because it has 7 power, 1d7 plus 3. Now, ranged attack is also going to be, well, it's not actually going to be that. It's going to be 16 plus dexterity. It's only got a 1 bonus there. So it's going to be plus 17. Now, range increment. Do we have one of those yet? Not here. Let's go back to our keyword abilities, because it should have been one of the first ones we did. Somewhere in here. There it is. Okay, here we go. Reach. So the creature's attack becomes ranged. Converted mana cost times 20. This thing costs 8 to play. 8 times 20 is 160. So, I mean, that's kind of huge. So the range increment is going to be 160 feet. And the range damage will be just 1d7 because we can't add strength to the damage die. Now, it is a huge spider. So we'll come back to our space reach here. Huge is 15 feet. However, spiders are notably not very tall. So we're going to go with the long profile, which means it only has a natural reach of 10 feet. It does not have any special attacks that we need to note down. It doesn't have venom or anything like that. And so, while we could go through here and say it gets +2 skills, or 2 skills plus their intelligence, it has no intelligence, it still gets 2 skills. So probably acrobatics and... Can I spell today? Acrobatics and perception. And since its skill ranks are equal to its level, it's a +16 in both. So perception is going to be a +16. And acrobatics, if we need it, it will also just be a +16. And so there we go. We've got a giant spider. And already we have a collection of creatures. Granted, you won't be able to summon an Eldrazi. But the fact is that if this was your spell list, on your turn, you would be able to say, okay, it's your turn now, what do you do? And you would say, okay, I would like to move my 30 feet, and I want to get behind cover behind this tree, okay? I'm going to take cover behind this tree. The tree will offer me some protection. That's my move action. As a standard action, I would like to summon a creature. I'm going to gather the mana, assuming that I've got the mana, because this Goliath spider requires 2 forest mana. The Aven Fate Shaper only requires 1 blue. If we come back to the rules on mana, the mana system, you can only hold 1 mana per level, so in order to summon the spider and the Aven Fate Shaper, you'd have to be level 8. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to say that we're going to pick an area. I'm just going to do like a random area. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay. $1d13. 10. And PC Unicorn says, summons Eldrazi, gives it a high 5, and immediately annihilates itself. Yeah, you can't summon an Eldrazi. I'm sorry. If an Eldrazi shows up, you should probably do what everyone else does and just run. Alright, if this is 13, 12, 11, 10. Rivers and lakes. Okay, primarily blue. So I need a 2d6, and then 4d4. So GR 2d6 and here we go. So looks like blue's going to get 12. Let's go ahead and blank this out. Blue gets 12, and the rest are going to get 4, 1, 4, 2. All right, so here's our mana profile for this this river, or this lake. Okay, this is our mana profile. It's got 4 white mana, 1 blue mana. No, wait. B is black. 12, 1. All right, 4 white mana, 12 blue mana, 1 black mana, 4 red mana for some reason, and 2 green mana. This is our mana profile for this particular area. And that means that if we're going to go summon something, first we have to see if we have enough mana for it. Do we have enough mana to summon a Goliath Spider? It requires 6 mana plus 2 green. Actually, we do have it. So you say, on my turn, I'm going to take cover behind this tree. As a standard action, I'm going to summon. So you gather up the mana, and you can then summon the creature, at which point you would come straight over here to your personal creature list and just say, here is my Goliath Spider that I'm summoning. I have all of its stats right here. And as such, my spider is now on the field. I know how big it is because of the space right here. I need a 15-foot token. I'll put that on the board for you. And then, unless the creature has haste, it automatically drops to the end of the initiative, because every creature comes in with summoning sickness, so you can't use it on your turn. It has to wait until your next turn before you can take action. Again, unless it has haste. So, you say, I want to summon this, you gather up the mana, you summon it, you get your creature, and then the game proceeds as normal. And it should be that simple and that fast. Because the mana profile will be taken care of ahead of time. You'll know what you're walking into. All of these will be prepared ahead of time. I will help you make them when you level up. Or, you know, if I have somebody else running the game, they'll help you do it. And yeah, this should be fantastic. PC Unicorn says, now imagining it like a Final Fantasy X combat system. You're actually right about that. So, I actually do it more like Warhammer, because it's usually a lot easier. One of the things that Warhammer excels in is actually being a little bit faster, because you don't have to determine what each and every initiative is. You just take turns. Normal initiative is this. Everybody rolls initiative. And that initiative is what gives you your order. I wonder if I can set that up here as an example. Get me some free assets. Here we go. Here's some townsfolk. Just load these up. Okay. I'll take you. And you. And who made these tokens? There's you. And there's you. Okay. Now, what I would normally do is each one of these should have a sheet. They don't. But you can imagine that they would. I can actually come down here to this turn order, and I don't even know what this is. What is this? Can we just clear this? Descending, ascending, remove all turns. Yes, clear this. Okay. I'm going to call you A. And yes, go ahead and give you a nameplate. I'm going to call you B. I'm going to call you C. And I'm going to call you F. Just because somebody out there was expecting me to say D, and that is just to screw you. Now, in general, your initiative is based off of your dexterity. So, if you have the improved initiative feat, you can get a bonus. But otherwise, it's just whatever you happen to roll, plus your dexterity. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to roll a 1d20 plus a 1d4 to represent the variability in their initiative. So it's going to be 1d20 plus 1d4. So for A, it's going to be an 8. And so I'm going to going to add A and make that an 8. The next one, actually I can do this a different way. 21. I'm just going to use the green spot right up here. So you're an 8. B is 21. C. Oh, can't actually see the tokens? Okay, there we go. My bad. Alright, C is going to get a 9. And F is going to get a 22. Holy hell. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to add these guys into the initiative. So there's B. No, actually, I think I can add them all at once. C and F. And B, of course, gets 21. C is a 9. Oh, wait, I put that in the wrong place. That 22 is yours. C gets a 9, and F gets a 22. And then, whoever has the highest gets to go first. And this is how initiative generally works. And then I can simply just run the turn order. Every turn, we simply cycle through whoever gets to go next until combat is over. The problem here comes in that this is 4 characters. So we only had to roll 4 initiative 4 times, and we can run through this order pretty quickly. But if I have 4 or 5 players, and then the encounter that they're in has an additional 4 or 5 NPCs, and that's if it's a normal, like, challenging encounter. If it's a weaker encounter that has weaker creatures but more of them, say a dozen goblins, we're now looking to track like 17 different initiatives. So imagine this, but I still have to do it another dozen times. It becomes more complicated, especially since you don't necessarily know exactly who is taking their action first. Or if you have people that aren't paying attention, you have to remind them. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, you're after goblin number 2. The way I usually run it is I have everybody roll initiative at the same time, and whichever side has the higher initiative, they get to go first. And then I let my players establish what order they want to play in. Because in general, they have people who like to go first and people that like to go last. In my experience, it's worked out a lot better. Now, does that mean that it is better? No, it is not better. It does rob a little bit of the narrative from what they're doing. For example, if the big warrior always wants to go in first, that's great. However, what if the big warrior rolled a really poor initiative and now they have to go last? Well, that changes the way battle is going to flow, doesn't it? And so you do lose some things the way I do it, but you also gain things the way I do it. Because my way tends to flow a lot better, especially since on my side, if I have a lot more NPCs than they have characters, I can do things like mass rolls. I mean, if all of my NPCs have essentially the same attack roll, which they generally do, I'm not rolling individual stat blocks for every single goblin, I can simply say, I have 3 goblins attacking, I'm going to roll 3 attacks at once and see if they hit. It's that simple. And that means that I can get my turn done really quickly, and then my players can take a little bit of extra time for their turn without losing anything in the balance. So that's how that's going to work. But anyway, getting back to this, I think this is going to work out really, really well. So you will have a you're going to have a spreadsheet that's going to be all of your spells. And it's going to be a lot of character grids just like this for quick and easy reference. And you'll also have a small subsection for things like spells. Now, if it's like a burn spell, like a lightning bolt, then it'll be super easy. Because a lightning bolt just deals 3 damage, and it costs 1 to play. So you'll say, I'm going to cast lightning bolt. It does 1d3 damage, according to our spell list here. Come on, go back. Yeah, it costs 1 damage. That's the number of dice. The damage listed is the size of the die. 1d3. Quick, easy, boom, lightning bolt. We've got a good thing going here. All right, so here's what I think we're doing. We're going to pause here. Now that we've got our character sheets done, the next thing to do is going to be to go through all of the different creature types and establish what bonuses do they give. We already know, and we've already established, that their power is going to equal their strength, and their constitution is going to equal their their toughness will equal their constitution, and this works out really well. It's the rest of them that we have to do. As we saw with the Aven Fate Shaper, giving it a +2 for being a bird and a +2 for its intelligence actually works out pretty well. I think it's good. For the Eldrazi, I don't know, but giving them +4 on everything seems to be somewhat appropriate. And for the spider, giving it a +2 dexterity, and since it's just a spider, nothing else, also seems to fit. Although, technically spiders are really stupid, so it has a 10 intelligence, that's human level intelligence. Perhaps, what we do is we say if it's a spider, it also takes a -8 to intelligence. -8 would mean that its intelligence goes down to 2. That actually means that it gets no skills, because it gets 2 skill points, plus its intelligence modifier. Its intelligence modifier is now a -4, I think. And so it would just have no skills. And that's fine. It's a spider. What does it need to have skills for? All it needs to get out there and bite things. That's it. And it can absolutely do that. So when we get back here next time, that's what we're doing. We're going to be going through all of the creature types, and there are a lot of them. We'll make up a spreadsheet just to log out what bonuses they get, and we should be able to knock them out really super quick. It's not going to be like when we went through the keyword abilities. We had to read what it is, read how it works, understand how it works, translate that into Pathfinder rules, and then find a way to write it down in a concise way. No, that took a really long time because that was a lot more involved. This is going to be, what is it, what bonuses, what penalties, move on. There's a lot of them, should go quick though. So, if you want to see that, then go ahead, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, because that's going to be the best way to be here for that. If you want to, it's fine. It's the same time every week, so if you've been here today, you can be here next week. But subscribe to the channel anyway. Go ahead, hit the bell icon, that way YouTube should, I'm not going to promise that they will, but they should notify you when the stream is coming. If you just know, or if you know anybody who's into either Pathfinder or Magic the Gathering, I would say share this with them because if you're enjoying it, they might too. Otherwise, though, if you just like what I'm doing, you like this, leave a like on the stream. Leave a like for me. I like likes. You can leave a comment down below, but if you're going to go through all the effort to leave a comment down below, might I suggest you instead join the Discord. I have a Discord. It is primarily, ostensibly, for playing games like this. I already have a Star Trek game running using the module that I made way back at the very beginning. And goodness, going back and playing that game, I have been modifying that module so much with improvements. It was so bad, and I have made it so much better. Don't worry, I'm getting better at this. I mean, I was already pretty good at it, but I'm getting better. But if you want to play Magic the Gathering, Pathfinder, or any of the other modules that we have made, you need to go to the Discord, go to the Behind the Screen channel, and you need to let me know what your availability is and what games you want to play. As soon as I have enough players for one game, we can get it started. So I look forward to seeing you there. I look forward to seeing you back here next week when we go through all the different creatures, because I'm kind of excited for that one. I want to see all the different creatures. I hope to see you there. I hope you're going to have a good day, so you take care, and I'll see you next time.